What is up, you guys? It is your boy HamzaConnection coming at you live. Well, today is a late evening. I'm shooting this podcast episode, but just contemplating and thinking about some things. And today I want to talk about confidence and confidence. Sometimes, let me tell you a little bit of story about myself. So sometimes I really, like most of the times, I'm really harsh on myself. I want myself to be perfect. I want myself to be really damn amazing. And I sometimes push myself and I sometimes get angry about myself because I wasn't confident in a certain situation. And then I usually give myself shit for like, why weren't you confident here? Why didn't you do this and why didn't you do that? And it boils down to I figured out why I wasn't confident. Well, the thing here is in certain situations, the way that you develop confidence is by actually the doing. It's very hard to be confident in yourself if you haven't done something similar. That is the main point. So the confidence comes from doing. So let's say it's the first time you ever, for instance, go on a date. You're super nervous. And you're asking yourself, I should be confident. No, not necessarily. Like, I'm not saying that you can't be confident on your first date, but it's very hard for you to be super confident because you haven't gone on a date before. So it's hard for you to be super confident with the girl. Some people are it's super hard for them to give compliments. They're not confident when they give compliments, or they're not confident when they receive compliments. And sometimes, for instance, if you want to be confident with giving compliments, you basically have to go through that shit period where you're not comfortable giving compliments to other people. Because it's hard to be comfortable and confident when it's the first time that you do something, when it's the second time that you do something, when it's the third time that you do something. I remember when I read one of my favorite books that was called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that book basically, like Principle 5 in that book, I still remember it, even after all these years. It's smile to people. Smile. And I wanted to practice that. I wanted to apply the knowledge because everybody knows, hey, it's a good idea. It's good to smile to people because it makes you seem more friendly, all of that stuff. So I wanted to basically learn how to smile to people. And it was really hard for me to apply this concept because I wasn't confident when I was smiling. I was like, it was kind of cringe because it was an unnatural moving pattern for me. It was easy for me to laugh and all that stuff, but usually I don't look at people straight in the eyes and smile. So I had to practice that. So I tried to like go ahead and look people in the eye, which was already really hard for me because I'm not used to looking people in the eye. And there was some years back, looking people in the eye, and it was so funny because I was scared shitless. I was like, oh shit, I got eye contact. Oh, let me look down. And I noticed that I still do that to this day. Sometimes I look at a hot girl, she looks at me, and I look down. And that's because of a lack of confidence. I'm working on that. But this is the thing. It's hard to do it when you're first starting out. But this is the main point of the story. Here comes the point. I used to practice looking at people and smiling at them. And you know what? Today, it is so much easier to look at people and smile. And also my eye contact has gotten way better. Like I remember, like, for instance, I was at this RSD event, and there was this really hot instructor. She was called Sarah, and she told me, basically, she complimented me. She was like, "That's a nice eye contact, like really like resting eye contact." And it was super intimidating to look at her because she's quite beautiful and all this stuff. And she made me uncomfortable. But in myself, I was sort of resting. So I was just like, if she were looking straight at me, I would look straight at her. And I would not like cut the eye contact gaze. She would actually cut the eye contact gaze. And so we would just stare in each other's eyes. And it was uncomfortable, but I didn't flinch. I didn't flinch. And it was amazing. Because that kind of conference, like you feel like you connect with people way more. I feel like I connected with her way more because of that eye contact. Because somehow that just creates trust in other people, especially with a girl. You can maintain that eye contact. It creates some sort of trust because you're masculine. You're resting in yourself. You're not being thrown off center when you look people straight in the eyes. So it has its benefits, looking people straight in the eyes. But this is not the point of the podcast. The point of the podcast is that situation was uncomfortable, but I stayed in that situation and found myself and grounded myself, so I was able to just maintain eye contact with this pretty hot instructor. And that was it. Because I practiced it. I practiced this when I read the book, How to Influence and Influence People. I practiced looking at people and smiling. And it was so uncomfortable at the start. But eventually, after you smile to a lot of people, it's natural. Like, if I go through my day, for instance, all right, let me think. Today, yeah, when I went out and I worked out, I met this pretty girl, and we had eye contact, and I smiled, and she smiled. And it seemed so natural. Like, I was so confident. It didn't even, like, flinch me. But if I hadn't practiced it, I would have been like, shit, man, I would have been weird, like, smiling to her. Because it's not natural for me. And this is the thing. Don't expect yourself to be confident when it's the first time you're doing something ever. The reason why people are confident, it's either because they're in their element. For instance, let's say you're working at a firm and you're really good at that thing in your firm. Then you're at your element because you know, you feel comfortable because you are in your element because you're pretty good. But let's take somebody out of that element and put them, let's say, for instance, in a bar. They may not seem as comfortable. So sometimes it's being in your element because you're used to it, and that's because you're comfortable, because you've done it so many times. You've been in that situation so many times. Or you practice. So what I recommend you guys do, and myself as well, is if you want to be more confident in a certain situation, you have to practice and put yourself into that situation so many times that you get exposed to it. And I know it is super uncomfortable because it was super uncomfortable for me to look at people and smile. To look at people and basically smile. And if I want to maintain eye contact with people, I will need to practice it. I will need to practice looking at people and not, like, I'm not saying like go ahead and look at people and just stare them to death and like I'm not gonna break eye contact. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. It's like, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, like, in a natural way, maintain eye contact. Let the other person break the eye contact first. For instance, when you're looking at a girl, look at her, she looks at you, but you don't break eye contact, and then she breaks eye contact. That shows some sort of confidence in you. Also, I noticed in myself when I'm sitting in meetings with like really successful people, like CEOs and stuff like that, and I'm like successful CEOs and successful people, I'm like, wow, it is really, really hard when I am going to talk. My voice, it's like, right now I'm in my element. I feel like this is easy doing this podcast. So I can speak like this. But when I'm in that situation and I feel like I'm surrounded with so much greatness, I don't feel as comfortable. And I'm like, what am I supposed to say? And my voice suddenly gets louder. No, not louder, but like my volume decreases. And my body posture is not as open. I know this is a podcast, but if you could see me right now, my body posture is open and I'm scratching my ass. But basically, it's like I'm way more confident now because basically, I think I've done 23 episodes now, and I used to like shoot videos for my mentors to update them daily, like for 90 days, and you sort of get used to like looking at your phone, talking to your phone, and also this is like a podcast, so I get used to like talking into the mic. So that's another example of just practicing the situation, you become more confident. So if I want to be confident, for instance, meeting Stefano Orlando from Nike and being able to talk to him and having good body posture. If I were to meet him again and again and again, it would be easier for me to what? To be able to talk to the guy like a normal human being because you have seen him, you have like you have exposed yourself to that situation so many times. But first time when I met Stefan Orlando from Nike, it was like whoa shit. It's like I have like it was like oh shit. I was nervous. I was nervous. I could feel that. I could feel that. But you sort of get used to it afterwards after you meet so many people. So now I know, for instance, for me, if I want to be confident in meetings, make sure you have a good body posture. Make sure you're aware, and make sure it's really important that you're aware, and then you go ahead and push your comfort zone. So if this is the comfortable body posture, obviously you can't see it because it's a podcast, but I'm slouching. Then expand your chest. Now I'm not slouching, and then sit for a moment. And every moment that you sit in your confident posture, that's a moment that you get used to the situation. And the longer you do that, the more comfortable you will be. And at the end, it will just seem effortless. It will just seem effortless. Like it requires very little effort for me to look at a person and smile. It requires very little effort for me. And it's because I practice it. So the more you practice, the easier it becomes. And at some point, it's going to become automatic. It's going to be like super, super easy for you. But basically, that was it. And that was my story. Hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully you guys are going to apply some of that shit because that's super, super important. And yeah, stay tuned and stay confident. Hit the like button and subscribe if you like this episode.